Yo, what's good, y'all? Oh, let's get ourselves settled. Let's get ourselves situated. Ooh, hot. All right. Let's make sure y'all can see what I see. And two, it's my favorite. And I'm so glad I found a copy. So let's full screen that so I can see. Let's make sure we're all good and well and all that then. Alright, we don't have to do or record that. Oh, we disconnected for a second. That's crazy. Alright. Hot. How's everyone doing? Well, I hope everybody's doing well, doing fabulous. So, welcome to Ask Dr. Miko. I'm your lovely hostess, Dr. Miko. I hold a doctorate of philosophy, a PhD for those that can't speak nerd, in rehabilitation, counseling, and administration. I am a licensed clinical mental health counselor, a national certified counselor, a master addictions counselor, and a certified rehabilitation counselor. I got a lot of fucking alphabet soup behind my name. But that's all fine and great, but I do this segment simply because there's a lot of mental health shit floating around in the world, and especially the worlds of the wide webs. And people don't necessarily get to ask their questions flat out without joining therapy or, going through that whole daunting task of, feeling, well, I feel sick if I ask this question, or I feel silly if I ask that question. Don't worry, Instagrammers, I'm going to fix this stream in just a second. So just some announcements first. I am going to start reorganizing my segment after a while. I will still do Ask Dr. Miko on Instagram and all platforms simply because I think mental health is just that important. But as far as my game stuff, like Blue Skirt Boy Adventures, podcast stuff, and Saturday Night Shenanigans, those are going to be solely Twitch from now. Well, not from now, probably starting next week. Simply because I'm this close. Like, I could lick it. I'm so close to affiliate. It's ridiculous. So, If you aren't watching me on Twitch right now, then you definitely need to watch me. You can probably see, oh, you can't see Instagrammers. You can't see my Twitch doohickey, my Twitch address. Where you at? So, there we go. Now you can see it. So if you haven't ever watched me on Twitch, definitely go there. Twitter will definitely be used mostly for advertising and highlight stuff. I will start doing a highlight reel and clip and all of that good stuff. But enough of that boring shit. I'll probably do an official video later. So, tonight, we are playing the lovely Tekken 3, simply because 1 is my favorite Tekken of all time, and 2 weeks ago, I got the sudden urge to play Tekken Ball, and I was like, yeah, let's play ball and talk about trauma, and I went to my gaming shelf, and I was like, it ain't there. Mom was like, nah, I got it. It's with my stuff, and I don't know where it is right now, and I'm like, damn. So we used some of this doctor money to go ahead and buy us a new copy, not the $119 copy that Amazon wanted, which is fucking nuts. But we are going to play some Tekken Ball tonight, and our topic of choice, given our lovely praise from last stream, is attachment and attachment theory. So, 1 second, let us go on our Hootsuite, because streaming is hard, and even though you think you've got everything set up right, you don't. You're always missing something. And the something I'm missing right now is people probably don't think I'm live right now because I didn't change my message. So let's do that. Hot damn. It's Miko time. There. Post that shit. Oh wait, we kinda need a picture, don't we? We're gonna need a picture. We need a picture for that. Yeah. Let me just scroll on down. I forgot to do my photo dump for the month because carrying 22,000 photos is not a good thing. So, post that shit. Alright, now people know we are lives for realies. And we now play some Tekken Ball and talk about attachment style. So, kids, attachment. Ooh, Tekken Force. Wait, did I want to play Tekken Ball or Tekken Force? I don't remember. Which one has Tekken Ball on it? I don't care. Tekken Force. So, attachment. When we think about attachment, the best way to define it like a non-nerd is to say it is the absolute first pattern since your existence was created, the first pattern you were able to pick up on that was consistent enough to make sense of your world. We won't say that again. Attachment is basically the very first pattern that you were consistently able to pick up on since the day you were born, so that you can regulate yourself accordingly. Now, developmental theory tells us that we develop different attachment styles just kind of based on what we experience in those patterns. Hot chicken. What we experience on when we, latch into these patterns. So, as infants, babies cry, right? Babies cry all the time. Why do babies cry? Babies cry because they either need to be fed, changed, or just comforted, right? So, if I am a baby in a crib and I have an attentive parent, let's say average attentive parent, they pretty much know, come check on the baby if the baby's crying for any particular reason. If I am a baby and I cry and my attentive parent comes in, they see my need, they fix my need, they leave again. I have developed a secure attachment, especially if that's the pattern that is most consistent. I know then that if I cry, i.e. do a certain behavior, then my caregiver or whoever's around exuding these patterns will tend to me eventually. Now, I'm probably about to get my ass handed. What's up, Lee? Ooh, there's chicken there. So, going back to that example, if I am a baby and I cry and my not so attentive parent shows up, but shows up well after trauma has been established, I have a need that needs to be met, and it hasn't been and it's making me even more uncomfortable, then you guessed it, I have a bit of a detached attachment. Simply because it means I can depend on you, but not 100% of the time. So, if I have a Russian roulette parent and I am a baby and I cry, and the parent sometimes shows up, sometimes they don't, there's like a really sporadic pattern to everything. Like, I don't know if they're going to come or not, but I just know that I need to cry because that's the only thing I can do. Because again, I'm a baby. And this whole sporadic, sometimes maybe not pattern is now a disorganized attachment pattern. So, it kind of starts off where we are. And it's not always all about parenting. Sometimes, because people's development is different.
3, 2,
What?
1. Time up.
Time up.
Game over.
So it doesn't necessarily matter if it's a parent or whatever. It is, once again, the pattern that is picked up on you, that you've picked up most consistently, right? So it's more so, if I stay with my grandparents, I learned that they're more responsive than my mom. If I do this, if I do that, I notice that certain behaviors exude certain things and get certain things out of other people. Now, here is how this plays out and becomes important. So, if we have learned to attach in a certain kind of way, that is going to regulate how we attach to other people that we encounter in our entire lives moving forward. So, there is, like I said, avoidant attachment. They tend to avoid interaction whatsoever because, if I have attached to you in an insecure way, I have learned that you're not consistent enough for me to depend on you, which means I can't possibly get my emotional needs met from you, so I shouldn't bother, even if you do show me affection. So, in the past, there may not have been any tender moments, there may not have been any emotional comforts, consistently to rely on. There may not have been, again, any responses at all to your needs if you were in the cradle crying as a kiddo. So avoidant attachment, I don't give in or attach regardless of your efforts. Now, avoidant attachment translates into grown-up behavior and adulthood as, good for you, I had to buy mine. Grown-ups, when you get into, like, say, deep friendships or intimate or romantic relationships, avoidant attachment does rear its ugly head there, simply because if my goal in an intimate or a romantic relationship is to get close to someone and be vulnerable and all that, oh shit, he's my ass, then it's going to be really hard for me to, open up or be close, because once again, if I've learned that I can't sit here and depend on anyone emotionally for support because I have an avoidant attachment style, then that's going to cause some problems. You're not going to trust your partner. You're not going to be able to open up. You're not going to be able to, take seriously when they tell you, that you're attractive or anything like that. But there's just always going to be this underlying something of, I want to love somebody, but it's hard. Now, in friends, this one kind of goes a bit more under the radar simply because, in friendship, sometimes either we vibe and it's great or we don't, because no one teaches us how to, be effective friends and be vulnerable and not be afraid to get hurt with people that are close to us. But that's a whole different conversation. It kind of flies under the radar simply because we're not trying to be as vulnerable in these friendships. We're not trying to, yes, we want a closeness about us, but we don't want, a completely wide open, let me tell you everything and all that stuff kind of relationship. So, get them, Nina. So, avoidant attachment looks pretty normal. It looks like, we close or whatever, but I don't let everybody in my business. That's what that translates to. So, avoidant can also look like, you can't take a compliment from coworkers or your boss or something like that. Chicken. Come on. Get the chicken, Nina. Jesus Christ, you're gonna die. Dead. Anyway, so you can't take a compliment. You can't, accept praise for work you do. It also goes along in that mindset of, this is what I should be doing anyway. I shouldn't really, worry about what I'm trying to accomplish here because it doesn't really matter. I don't need anybody. I need to do my job. Um, secure attachments. So going back to our I'm a baby thing. If we cried, our parents consistently kind of came in, and things were great, then cool. Cool. Then we are securely attached because we have developed some form of trust with a figure in our life that can now translate to the rest of our life. So secure attachment can look a lot like, I'm comfortable approaching my parents. I'm comfortable talking to my parents. I know that they're there for me. I know how to connect with other people in a way that's meaningful. I know how to, be in a relationship and reciprocate and receive affection. So, again, that can look really different for everybody. So, securely. So, let's say our parent, we cry, we're a baby. Our parent comes and dotes on us every second of the day. It doesn't matter what we cry about. We could have just hiccuped or farted uncomfortably and would be fine without them, but they are there. They are doting. They are also known as helicopter parents. That tends to not be necessarily a secure attachment style. That one is more like a codependent attachment style, really. That's not an official one, but that's typically what happens. They typically don't.
You win.
They are either typically way open with people or way closed off from people. So either they're like, I know I can only depend on one person, or they are like, oh, thank you, unexpected justice. Or they're more so like, I'm open with everybody all the time. These are also usually people that are openly, just talk about their trauma, even though they just met you in the elevator 20 seconds ago. So it's like either they are very trusting and completely open in the world, or they're not. They're very closed off. Maladaptive attachment, basically. So let's talk about the detached attachment style. So going back to I'm a baby, I cry. Parent might show up, parent might not. Or parent might show up at the the wrong time. And I'm in even more distress than when I started. So detached. I can't depend on you emotionally, so I'm not going. Growing up, that's gonna kind of cause some ambivalence, especially with detached attachment or disorganized. So again, that Russian roulette parent. Disorganized attachment especially results in ambivalent attachment. Meaning, I might vibe with you and connect, I might not. I don't really know how to feel. I may seem cold and hot oftentimes, or I may seem, really into it one day, and then the next 2 days, either my paranoia or my overthinking gets in the way, and it's just like, I don't even know what I'm doing with this relationship. I'm sorry. So they have the most difficulty trying to attach because there wasn't that much consistency in their original, experience with attachment. I feel like I've said attachment so much, it deals with attachment. So there are 3 types of attachment: secure, avoidant, and resistant. Secure, again, going back to well-founded, fixable if it goes awry. It's easy to kind of be aware of. I know what to expect from people. I know what people can expect from me, kind of thing. Avoidant, meaning I don't need you at all. I'm not trying to attach. I can recognize your attempt to attach and either consciously shut them down or just unconsciously do that, meaning emotionally closed off, all of that. They may also feel a bit more love feelings of being unloved, just rejection in general. They're also the kind of people that just automatically assume, someone said something, they don't like me, I'm done. Which kind of gets therapeutic progress, but it's also kind of the goal, right? Resistant attachments. They are often just very aggressive. I'm not going to say necessarily angry, but confused because, again, we've got that push-pull of I want affection, I want to be connected to someone, but this attachment style I have will not allow that to happen. And so I have this war and battle with myself going on. I would like to know which Tekken is Tekken 4 on it, because now I'm kind of upset. Because if it's already sitting in there, I'm going to be a little mad. Alright, I'm tired of getting my kick. So if you're secure, you're very autonomous, you're very independent, you know what you want, you know how to interact with people, you know how to not take things personally, you know how to, exist what would call, quote unquote, normally. Counterattacks on, sure. No. Alright. Yeah, so you're a normal person if you can securely attach. And when I say normal, don't worry about it because it's completely no one has the perfect conditions to be quote unquote normal. That's why I always say it in quotes because there's no such fucking thing. So avoidant, which also can be called dismissive avoidant attachment. So if we are avoidant, we're not, looking for love even though we may want love. We're not accepting it for whatever reason. And that often leads us to kind of be dismissive to, build a bigger cocoon around ourselves of being emotionally safe. So we are become dismissive of people. So not only does someone bring us their feelings, like, oh my God, I think you're so awesome. Here are these feelings I have for you. What you want to do? You're like, ooh, I don't want them, as well as, I'm not really interested. It ain't even that deep. Which, kind of turns you into a hurtful monster, like we talked about in trauma last week. But a lot of times it's, yeah, you're very welcome. It's very much, I want to love, but I've learned that I can't love because I can't depend on love or connection, want to connect. So I have to protect my feelings by softly and subtly lashing out, i.e. kind of being a hurtful jerk, being dismissive. Preoccupied attachment. You have a whole negative self-image of yourself. That's a negative self-image of the world, other people in it. So again, that's that attachment. The parent is either so doting or just so distant that it's just like I either trust the world 100% or I'm closed off to everybody. So you have to get approval and things in a different way than a normal secure attachment would. So because I don't think it was safe, because I don't think I'm worthy or people are worthy, I have to find other things that indicate worthiness. Like validation through activity, validation through behavior, validation through, it's kind of using labels as a personality trait. So, is it weirdly choppy? Ooh, it very well might be. Give me a second, I fix that. Alright, Instagram, follow me on Twitch, see you later. It's really choppy because I was also sending it to Instagram, but I just suggest I'll be doing it in the future. So, seeking validation, self-acceptance, even though it's not from yourself, which often translates to high-risk behavior because I want people to accept me, I want to be validated, I want to do this and that, which leads to hikes and promiscuity behaviors, even though you may not be interested, being the life of the party, even though it's fucking draining, not liking to be alone by yourself with your thoughts or just kind of doing any self-exploration in general. So like therapy is very scary for people like that. People that base their self-worth off of just what they can do and what they can for people. So codependency also hides in it. And so, nah, it's not cheap. So with that, they often have higher levels of intimacy stuff, higher levels of partners and romantic relationships, simply because instead of, in our thought process, when we have developed these attachments, going in there and fixing it, we're trying to do something behaviorally. We're trying to do something tangible and, physical, i.e. connecting with a lot of people and feeling love, affection, and validation that way. Now that can get really draining because you run through relationships like they're war. You can use people for their feelings and feel bad, then in order to feel better, you do it again and just kind of continue the cycle. So, being secure in adult romantic relationships looks a lot like being able to communicate. Being able to connect with your partner on such a level that vulnerability is not an issue, it's more of a given. And knowing, just having that trust and that security and knowing that they'll be there. Avoidant lovers are often fearful of intimacy. So they may not show as much affection in public. So if your love language, which is something we'll touch on later on, if your love language is hugs or touch or something, and an avoidant lover is probably not going to do that for you, because that would require me to attach to you in a certain way that I'm not used to. So instead, I will, you say things like, you know I care, you know I love you, this, that, and the other, but there's a huge fear of intimacy there, so those words are going to feel empty because they're disconnected. Emotional highs and lows come along with that, so that basically means I am in this relationship with you, and I tell you I love you, even though I don't show it, or it doesn't sound like I mean it. But any attempt at you to feel like you're anything that feels like you're disconnecting from me, or anything that feels like our relationship is in danger, I'm gonna have a heightened level of emotion that goes with it. And it sucks because that's the most passionate they're ever gonna be, which is unfortunately toxic and turns you into a monster emotionally. But it's like they can't get the balance right? It's like, I want to connect, but I know I can't connect because it's not safe to connect. My partner wants me to connect. There's a threat that if I don't connect, they'll leave or the relationship is over. So I respond dramatically to show that I care, even though it might look ugly and seem, really evil. Jealousy is also a thing. So, like, especially when it comes to their partner being able to connect with someone on a level that they can't, because they have an attachment style that they just don't have. And that connection is what creates. So, with that being said, avoidant lover attachments can rarely be saved, especially if you don't do any of your own, like, work around just kind of self-attachment stuff, attachment styles on your own, because you can go to couples therapy with an avoidant lover all you want to. The pattern is still going to play out, and they're going to be like, well, that's just because, this is the way I am, or blah, blah, blah. But no, that's not it. They need to do their own individual work first, and then bring it back to couples counseling so they can practice what they've been learning. So, there's that. Ambivalent lovers. So those people that are in the middle, those people that had that kind of Russian roulette parenting. When do I jump in? Yes, no, no, yes, yes, no. Can I trust it? Can I not? Maybe I'll trust it this time, but not next time, kind of thing. So, obsession. They're either balls to the wall, in it all the way, overly intense about your relationship, overly intense about their love for you and the things that they do for you, or they're the complete opposite. They're very much, I care for you. I'm just very surface level with my feelings, but I assure you they're deep, even though it doesn't seem like it. So with that, with the balls to the wall obsession part of the ambivalence, it's more so of they absolutely need reciprocation. So these are the people that say, hey, I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to take you on all these trips, plan you all these things, buy you all these presents, because they are showing you what they look like themselves. And when it is not reciprocated, they tend to kind of go off the deep end with that, because they've been craving a consistent attachment for so long. They'll take any attachment, like any attachment whatsoever, and the second you give them any attention, they're all in. So because they don't want it to end, they don't want the connection to ever go away, because they've never had it consistently, they're going to force it to be consistent, and that is uncomfortable for everyone involved. It drains them of emotion and just physical energy, and it drains the partner of sanity and just feeling security in their relationship. So there's extreme sexual attraction, there's extreme jealousy, like the works. So let's talk about how to not necessarily fix attachment styles, but how to kind of manage them. One, knowing what yours is usually very helpful. So for me, gosh, I think I used to be anxious avoidant. Simply because I learned that I can't depend on anybody at a very early age, even if, they try and if they mean it. Still working through some of that shit. So anxious avoidant for me is just like, I have to have a backup plan for everything, especially in relationships, which means, I can learn to ask my partner for things, but without doing any work around that, I would most likely not. Now, granted, after years of therapy and all that good stuff, I've come to the place where my anxious avoidant attachment has become pretty subtle. So, like, it's still there in my love, which definitely, like, I have to have a lot of just kind of attention and physical affection. My partner will tell you every 20 minutes I come in there and get a forehead kiss or get on his nerves, just because I need that connection, that reassurance and validation. But it's more so about, with your current attachment style, figuring out what you need and how to get that need met in a healthy and reciprocal way. Because one thing about our attachment styles also is that it is very us focused, because obviously it's us, right? But in getting our needs met, we don't ever consider the other person that we're trying to get the need met from. So 2 examples, one good example, one bad example. Not necessarily the quality example, but just the type. So example 1, a person has a, particularly ineffective attachment style with their partner. They go to their own individual therapy. They bring it back to couples therapy and figure out that they do need reassurance from their partner. They do need verbal confirmation that they are worthy of the relationship. They do, need to be able to depend on their partner if they say, I need you to do this thing, and they do it. Second example, and it's the other side, recognizing your needs and where you get them met. If you have discovered that you have a detached attachment style, and the person you're still seeking validation from is the same person that either reinforces or helps establish that attachment style, you gotta understand that there is no guarantee, no matter how much you talk about it, that they're going to help you fix it or ever meet those needs. Because just like attachment styles help you find the consistent pattern, they also, showcase the dynamics in which those patterns happen. Dynamics which may be very rigid and not change. So, that being said, second example, if you have developed a disorganized attachment with, say, your mom growing up, the problem with that is going to be when you get older, say you realize your disorganized attachment, say you've gone to do your work and now you want to fix it with mom is going to be stuck in the same pattern of loops if she herself hasn't, 1, acknowledged, or 2, decided that she even wants to work on this, which once again reinforces these disorganized attachment style, because it's like, she'll hear me out but she won't validate, or she'll do this thing but she won't do that thing, or even so, she'll call me and we'll have a good day for 3 solid weeks, and then she'll just disappear off the face of the earth and not return my calls or texts. Very, very disorganized attachment. So again, that just kind of depends on who you're trying to attach to and who you're trying to fix your attachment style with. Because I know it would feel good to go back to the people we grew up around, the people we care about, to help us fix ourselves, but unfortunately they're kind of the reason we're broken. And it's going to be hard to fix something if the broken system still exists. So we can't scoff at, relationship experiences with other people, even if they're strangers. We can't scoff at, just writing people off as, okay, you're not emotionally available to me or validating in the attachment way that I need. Let me pick up and reorganize our relationship. A lot of people don't like to hear that you can reorganize your relationship with your family. Because when I say that, they think it's more so, you gotta cut them off, they're evil, go away. Nah, that ain't it at all. So with attachment styles and how we attach to people, we also need to learn that we can organize and categorize the people we interact with. Now granted, it sounds very cold, calculated, and sciencey, but if you think about it, our brain likes cold calculations because they are structured and they make sense. So it's perfectly normal to know that you have a group of friends that, yeah, it's cool, we can go to the club, but I wouldn't bring you to meet my family or hang out with you like that. Or it's cool to go out for coffee, or it's cool to do homework with you, but you wouldn't fit in this other place in my life. It's not saying that they're less than, it's just saying that there is a certain level of connection that works for y'all, and there's a line of where it doesn't. Lee over here beat my ass. Oh, Law over here beat my ass. Um, and so with that, we have to really think about categorizing every relationship, because even familial relationships are just that, relationships. Even though, we have people labeled as mom, dad, sister, brother, they are still people under those labels. And last time I checked, people kind of suck. Because they are entitled to suck, because they have their own problems, their own ambitions, and their own, baggage that comes along with them that can affect how they interact with you and how you attach to them. So taking it slow when trying to attach to people is a great way to start managing your attachment style. If you're the type of person that is always in a relationship or hops from person to person and you're never alone, then it might be time to slow up. If you're the type of person that consistently gets in a repetitive pattern with members of your family and trying to attach to them and it just fails, slow it down. You're so familiar, you are an expert at the pattern at this point. You got to use that knowledge on how to change that pattern, or at least revamp it to a way that is, effective for you. So with that being said, while your foundational attachment style doesn't really disappear per se or go anywhere, it does get to be more manageable the more control we exert over it. Right? So sometimes you got to call yourself out on your bullshit. It's just like, we should really talk to our partner about this thing, but I'm afraid of what they'll say, so I'm not going to do it. That's some bullshit. How's it going to get fixed if we don't say nothing? That doesn't make any sense. And when it doesn't get fixed, you're going to be mad. And you're going to be mad at them too. And for what? So really calling yourself out on your avoiding bullshit, really calling yourself out on your dismissive bullshit becomes really hella important. Because you can't blame a relationship for not going the way you want or not being the way you want if you're not putting in the work to kind of manage yourself a bit better. It would be great if we could waltz into interactions, relationships, friendships, marriages, all that stuff on a vibe alone. It's like, okay, we vibe, this is great. But no, we got to have more than that. There's more than chemistry to these things. Like, there's attachment, there's communication, there's dynamics in general, and there's boundaries. We can't just go into it involuntarily thinking, okay, well, they haven't treated me bad per se, but I mean, it's all right. It's not exactly great. Okay, but do you want it to be great? You got to do something with that. So, there's my take on that. Whew. Any other questions on attachment? Attachment theory, as we mentioned last week, is closely related to just love languages in general and what people value when it comes to relationships, whether just intimate or social. So that is something we can definitely touch on next week. No, not all humans are telepathic, Nev. I'm sorry, we're not all celestial beings that, help the aliens tell us how to build the pyramids and all that good shit. We're not that old, sorry. And we have yet to reach telepathic ability. At least not to the point where, we're not ridiculed and crucified as witches for it. So lots of things. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I'm probably going to cut down my streaming outputs and focus solely on Twitch and or Facebook for now, simply because apparently I'm level up material on Facebook or whatever. But again, I don't know about that. So Twitter and Instagram will mostly be used for highlights and advertising, as I said. YouTube is going to be just mostly how-to vids, unboxing stuff, John and I's segment of Wrong Gaming, as well as Heist Night shenanigans. Yeah, no one's ignoring you. They just can't hear you. I mean, I'm judging you face is really, really stern, so we kind of get that part, but other than that, nah, we can't hear you. Let's see what else. But yeah. Oop. We need to find out which... Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. We need to find out which Tekken has Tekken Ball on it. Because clearly, this is the wrong one. So I wonder if it's 4, because 4's been sitting over there. Hey Google, which Tekken game has Tekken Ball on it? You're not going to answer me? It says it does.
Tekken Ball is a minigame featured in Tekken 3 and returned in Tekken Tournament 2 Wii U Edition.
So it is this game, so I'm not nuts. Hold on. Hold on. No, that's not what I wanted. So how do we access Tekken Ball? That's the thing. Okay, so I knew I wasn't nuts. Let's find out how you access Tekken Ball real quick, kids.
Round 1. Fight.
Ain't fixing to be no round one, ho. How to access Tekken Ball mode. Thank you. Terrible, because I remember all the cheat codes for this thing to like... Oh, that's right. I need my memory card. Oh, I gotta plug my memory card in. That's what it is. Yeah, I know it's a minigame. That's what I was thinking. I was like, but where is it? I forgot. Again, brand new copy. Brand new oldish PS2, because it's not my original, because mom has it. Yeah, you gotta unlock all of it. Yeah, you beat all of it. Yeah. So it's in there on a memory card. I just gotta fucking find it. Well, alright then. Splendid, pleasant, what have you. So, I reckon we can talk about love languages next week, or... Like, typically I let my interactions with friends determine what I talk about. Like, Trauma was totally inspired by friends feeling like they were a monster, repeatedly being called a monster in failed relationships, and all that stuff, so we will see what happens. But for now, I think love languages is what we are going to touch base on next week. So, I actually have a late night session, so John, I'm sorry, I won't be watching Dawn Daring 101, but I like shmoney, and I like helping people. So, I'm going on into session, and I will see y'all tomorrow night for Blue Skirt Boy shenanigans. Good night.